top stories tonight in Wine News. The Philippine Embassy in Israel works closely with authorities to facilitate the repatriation of the remains of the 2 Filipinos who lost their lives in the conflict. Department of Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista firmly denies allegations of accepting money or favors during his tenure. A Senate panel moved swiftly to pass the proposed budget for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s office for the upcoming year. And the United States, Utah files a lawsuit against the popular social media platform TikTok, alleging that the app is causing harm to children. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, October 11, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harding Delgado. First in the news. The Philippine government has confirmed the loss of 2 Filipino lives in the conflict between Israeli forces and the Hamas group. Expressing his condemnation of these killings, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has pledged unwavering support for Filipinos affected by this ongoing conflict. Nelmari Bohok reports.
The Department of Foreign Affairs is still confirming a possible third fatality in the ongoing war between Israeli forces and Hamas fighters. But for now, the Philippine Embassy in Israel is working closely with authorities for the repatriation of the remains of the 2 Filipinos who were killed in the said conflict.
There are 2 confirmed deaths, and so 1 reported death, but this is subject to confirmation by DNA evidence. And then there are still 3 missing, and 26 have been rescued so far.
We have received a request for assistance po sa pagpapauwi ng dalawang nasawi, at we are still coordinating with the authorities po sa pag-retrieve po ng body.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. expressed his sadness over the death of the 2 Filipino nationals as he denounced the violence and terror attacks. He vowed continued support to affected Filipinos. The Philippine Consulate described one of the victims as a 33-year-old married female from Pangasinan who has been working in Israel for 6 years. The other victim is a 42-year-old male from Pampanga. While the government does not see yet the need to repatriate Filipinos in war-torn Israel, the Armed Forces of the Philippines expressed its preparedness to conduct an evacuation operation for Filipinos affected by the ongoing conflict. AFP spokesperson Colonel Medel Aguilar said that they already prepared the plan should they be called to assist in the humanitarian mission with military aircrafts C-130 and C-295 as air transport. Nelmari Bohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Department of Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista has categorically denied allegations of accepting corruption money from the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board. JP Nunez will tell us why.
Department of Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista has firmly denied allegations of accepting money or favors during his tenure. He refuted claims made by Mar Valbuena, the president of the Transport Group Manibela, who implied that Bautista was the individual mentioned by whistleblower Jeff Tumbado as receiving corruption money from suspended LTFRB Chairman Attorney Chofilo Guadis III. Secretary Bautista's legal team is evaluating potential charges against those tarnishing his reputation. They are considering filing a libel case against Mar Valbuena, asserting that his accusations lack basis or evidence.
Posible akong mag-file ng kaso against him, no? Dahil napakagrabe ng kanyang accusation, walang basihan, no? Walang ebidensya, no?
Meanwhile, whistleblower Tumbado recanted his allegations against Attorney Guadis. In an affidavit affidavit of recantation, he cited impulsiveness, irrational thinking, misjudgment, and external influence as factors behind his initial statement. Tumbado publicly apologized to Attorney Guadis, Secretary Bautista, and the Office of the President. However, he still urged authorities to investigate issues within the LTFRB. In response, Secretary Bautista acknowledged a conversation with Tumbado earlier today but noted he has yet to receive the recantation affidavit.
Siya ay nakausap ko, no? At sinabi niya na hindi daw niya sinabi na kami ay involved sa katiwalian, no? Wala, yun ang sinabi niya sa akin kaninang maga, no? At ito daw ay gawa-gawaan lang daw ni Mar Valbuena.
Mar Valbuena filed a blotter at Camp Crame today, citing alleged threats from Secretary Bautista regarding potential charges concerning the issue of corruption money. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police has confirmed the dismissal from service of 7 Cavite police officers. Their dismissal stems from a troubling incident in which they forcibly entered the residence of a former professor in Imus, Cavite. This after the signing of a recommendation by PNP Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. endorsing the Internal Affairs Service's decision to remove these officers from the police force. Leia Ilagan explains why.
Philippine National Police Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. has given his approval to the recommendation of the Internal Affairs Service to dismiss the police officers involved in the robbery of a former professor's house in Imus, Cavite. PNP Public Information Office Acting Chief Police Colonel Jean Fajardo confirmed that this morning General Acorda signed the recommendation for the dismissal of the 7 Cavite cops found guilty of administrative charges.
6 counts of grave misconduct, 2 counts of less grave misconduct, 1 count of grave irregularity in the performance of duty, grave dishonesty and conduct unbecoming of a police officer. At ngayong umaga lamang po napirmahan ng ating Chief PNP yung decision po.
It's important to note that the Chief of Police, team leader, and other personnel were not found liable for the grave offense.
Yung Chief of Police, yung team leader at 4 pa pong non-commissioned officer were found not liable for the grave misconduct charges. However, they will be prosecuted for grave neglect of duty for doctrine of command responsibility po.
This decision comes after an incident on August 2 where members of the PNP Drug Enforcement Group in civilian clothes were caught on video forcibly entering the house and reportedly stealing cash, a laptop, and other valuable items. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The House of Representatives has responded to statements made by former President Rodrigo Duterte, emphasizing that all line items of the chamber under the leadership of Speaker Martin Romualdez adhere to regular accounting and auditing rules and regulations. Rosa Licos details why.
The House of Representatives says the chamber passed the Audit of Commission on Audit or COA under the leadership of Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez. It also has no notice of disallowances, no notice of suspension or notice of charge from COA as of September 30, 2023. House Secretary General Reginald Velasco made a statement in response to the statements made by former President Rodrigo Duterte. According to COA Circular 2009-006, dated September 15, 2009, this allowance pertains to the disapproval in audit of a transaction either in whole or in part, while suspension is a temporary disallowance or transactions or accounts which appear illegal, improper, or irregular unless satisfactorily explained or justified by responsible officers. Secretary General Velasco says the chamber is in agreement with former President Duterte that government expenditures should be transparent and fully auditable. He also reiterates the House has no confidential and intelligence funds. He points out line items in the budget of Congress are subject to regular accounting and auditing rules and regulations. Velasco released a copy of COA's Statement of Audit Suspensions, Disallowances and Charges dated October 2, 2023. Former President Duterte has declared if Speaker Romualdez decides to run for president, he would ask that an audit be made of how he has spent public funds. This was the first time he talked publicly about the House leadership since the administration of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. took office in 2022. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has made a significant decision. They will refrain from proclaiming winning candidates in the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, or BSKE, if there are pending disqualification cases against them. Dante Almento tells us why.
Commission on Elections, or COMELEC Chairman George Erwin Garcia has firmly stated that winning candidates with unresolved disqualification cases will not be allowed to assume office. The COMELEC has initiated numerous petitions for disqualification, alleging violations such as premature campaigning and vote buying.
Para hindi nila magamit yung proklamasyon, isususpend namin ang proklamasyon. Hindi namin ipapatuloy yung proklamasyon. Napakadalang gamitin ng COMELEC yung kapangyarihang yon. Pero dito sa barangay, gusto namin ipakita, kung kaya namin isuspend ang proklamasyon sa barangay, di kaya namin isuspend ang proklamasyon kahit sa national and local election.
Chairman Garcia emphasized that this stance is a decisive effort to instill discipline among erring candidates and maintain the integrity of the electoral process.
Gusto natin, turuan sila ng leksyon. Nasiseryosohin nila yung mga kalatas, yung mga patakaran na meron ng Commission on Elections. At dyan po namin talaga kailangan ang DILG sapagkat siyempre yung Philippine National Police under their supervision, sila kasi yung gagamitin ni Commissioner Maceda na taga-aresto, taga-kalap ng mga dokumento at mga ebidensya.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, has affirmed its commitment to cooperate with COMELEC. DILG Secretary Benhur Abalos sternly warned local government officials against interfering with COMELEC rules concerning their barangay official candidates. The DILG has reminded local government officials that the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, or BSKE, is an apolitical exercise of the right to suffrage.
Bawal po iyan, no? Tandaan po natin right now, very strict ang COMELEC dito. We have to follow their directives. We have to follow the law. We will be coordinating very closely with COMELEC about this at yung mga show cause order ay talagang gagawin po namin.
In a related development, the poll body has suspended voter registration in Israel due to escalating violence and tensions between Israel and Hamas. However, a specific date for the resumption of voter registration in Israel has not been provided.
Wala po munang voter registration, indefinite po ang suspension. Ayaw po nating ipagbakasakali ang buhay ng ating mga kababayan.
Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, in a show of unwavering support, United States President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Antony Blinken have reinforced their commitment to backing Israel as the nation confronts a wave of violence instigated by Hamas militants in the midst of an escalating conflict in Gaza. Joselito Liquido will tell us the details live. Yes, Joselito, good evening.
Good evening, Elsie. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken is set to visit Israel this week, reinforcing the Biden administration's backing of the nation amid ongoing violence instigated by Hamas militants. Scheduled for Thursday, Blinken will discuss enhancing financial and military support for the Israeli military. This visit follows President Joe Biden's firm endorsement of Israel's right to respond militarily to civilian casualties and attacks on security forces. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller conveyed the travel plans affirming the U.S. support for Israel's rights, but emphasizing compliance with international law. President Biden also engaged, promising unwavering support for Israel as it responded to Hamas' unprecedented attack. He pledged additional military assistance, acknowledging the gravity of the recent attack and even likening Hamas to ISIS. Biden urged Congress to allocate funds for the security needs of critical partners, including Israel and Ukraine. He condemned Hamas, stating its objectives contradicted the Palestinian people's rights. Despite concerns about the siege on Gaza, Biden reiterated unwavering political support for Israel's response. He conveyed his belief that Israel, like the U.S., has the right and duty to defend itself while underlining the importance of acting in accordance with rule of law in strengthening democratic nations. Back to you, Elsie.
Thank you, Joselito Liquidor, reporting live from Malaysia. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harlene.
Thank you, Elsie. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Several senators have signified that they will push for the restoration of Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT's confidential fund for next year. Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva says he would fight for the agency's secret funds to empower the country's cybersecurity measures. The lawmaker was confident that he will be able to rally his colleagues' support to get its needed funding. Senator J.V. Ejercito is also supportive of granting DICT with confidential and intelligence funds, or CIF, as well as the Department of Justice through the National Bureau of Investigation Cybercrime Division. Meanwhile, Ombudsman Samuel Martirez officially requests to the Senate to slash his office's proposed CIF for next year. In a letter addressed to Senate Finance Panel Chairperson Sonny Angara, Martirez asks the lawmaker to cut his proposed CIF from 51 million pesos to 1 million pesos for next year until the end of his term in 2025. A Senate panel has swiftly passed the proposed budget of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s office for next year. But a lawmaker believes the president's confidential fund should be slashed and be stripped of intelligence funds. This report will tell us why. In less than 30 minutes, a subcommittee of the Senate Committee on Finance approved the proposed 10.7 billion peso budget for the Office of the President, or OP, for 2024. Aside from Senator Sonny Angara, who presided the budget hearing, being the chairperson of the Senate panel, no other senators attended the hearing and asked questions. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin says part of the budget adjustments is for logistical requirements for the president's travel abroad. The office is also requesting for funding for infrastructure works inside the palace complex that were disrupted by the pandemic.
Let me just point out that we crafted this budget within the parameters and processes set by the DBM, from which we sought no special treatment.
Included in the 10.7 billion peso budget request of the President's office are confidential expenses amounting to 2.2 billion pesos, extraordinary and miscellaneous expenses with 23.8 million pesos, and intelligence expenses amounting to 2.3 billion pesos. But for Senate Minority Leader Aquilino Coco Pimentel, the confidential funds of the President should be reduced, while the intelligence fund should be removed. The lawmaker maintains that the OP is a civilian agency which should not be engaged in intelligence gathering, considering the workload of the President's office. Pimentel remains firm that the surveillance work should be left to intelligence experts, unless, he says, the people in the President's office have too much time on their hands. Pimentel was not present during the OP's budget hearing, but Angara sees nothing wrong with the President's request for secret funds and intelligence funds.
Presidente, parang gusto ba natin pilayan yung Presidente? Kung sinabi niyang kailangan yan, meron siyang alam na hindi natin alam.
He adds, based on the report submitted by the President's office to the Select Oversight Committee on Confidential Intelligence Funds, or CIFs, the OP's use of CIFs was accounted for.
Tinignan namin, very detailed naman yung sa OP, na nakalagay doon yung mga pinaggastusan. In fact, may mga pangalan pa nga nung mga binigyan ng sort of like a reward or incentive.
Angara notes that senators can still scrutinize the OP's proposed budget once it reaches the plenary. The Senate will begin its plenary debates on the proposed 2024 national budget in November, when session of both chambers of Congress resumes. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. The Philippine Coast Guard has relieved 8 personnel at the Regional Training Center from their positions. This action comes in response to complaints from trainees alleging financial difficulties due to overpriced uniforms, despite the government's allocation of a 43,000 peso clothing allowance for aspiring PCG members. Reports indicate that trainees are burdened with substantial debt, with some owing up to 150,000 pesos. The debt has led to challenges in managing their ATM transactions, forcing them to borrow money to fulfill their financial obligations.
Ang allegation nga ay maraming activities, maraming dagdag na uniforme, kaya nababaon sa utang yung mga trainees. At pinapabayad sa kanila yon, at ang ginagawa pa ay pinupost sila ng mga utang sa mga lending institution para lang maibayad at maklear sila doon sa kanilang mga pagkakautang.
The PCG is conducting a thorough investigation not only in Luzon but also across the Visayas and Mindanao regions. The implicated PCG officers range from middle-grade officers to senior-grade officers, although their identities have not yet been disclosed.
Alam mo, lumalaki yung Coast Guard. Talagang minsan hindi maiwasan na mayroong mga ganitong insidente. Pero hindi naman tayo nagpapabaya at magkikibit-balikat kung may report na ganito. Kaagad natin itong tinutugunan at tinitingnan para nang sa ganun makagawa tayo ng tamang hakbang para hindi ito maulit kung totoo at ma-prevent natin sa mga susunod pang panahon.
In the wake of the concerning data breach at the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PhilHealth, the organization is now awaiting the list of affected members from the Department of Information and Communications Technology. The DICT successfully acquired a copy of the leaked data recently uploaded on the dark web by the hackers who breached the health insurer system. They emphasized the necessity of informing the public promptly to mitigate potential scams.
Isa yan sa trabaho ng PhilHealth sapagkat sa atin nakuha yung data at tayo ang may pananagutan, responsibility na mag-reach out sa mga miyembrong naapektuhan.
Meanwhile, the National Privacy Commission, or NPC, is rigorously examining the massive 700 gigabytes of files collected by the hackers. This investigation extends to determining the possible administrative liability of PhilHealth in this incident. However, the NPC has also informed affected members that they can independently file complaints in the future.
Kung sino yung magko-complain under sa judicial system natin, burden niya ang patunayan na una, apektado siya. Pangalawa, kasalanan ni PhilHealth at ito yung damages na dapat sa kanya.
Kung meron po na mga mapapatunayan, mga kasamahan po namin na nagkulang, at yung ahensya mismo, yung pananagutan ng ahensya sa batas, ito po ay hindi natin tatalikuran.
The Philippine National Police carried out a significant initiative transferring patrol vehicles and safety equipment amounting to approximately 37.4 million pesos to bolster security measures in Ilocos Norte. PNP Directorate for Logistics Director Mario Reyes stood in for PNP Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr., leading the ceremonial turnover and blessing of 28 new patrol cars worth 35.6 million pesos at Sirib Mile in Lawag City. Additionally, safety equipment valued at 1.765 million pesos, encompassing tactical vests, undershirt vests, enhanced combat helmets, and raincoats, was handed over to the local police. As part of the PNP's modernization program, the national government continues to distribute police cars across the nation, enhancing law enforcement groups' quick response capabilities and motivating them to carry out their duties effectively.
For other global news, in a decisive vote on Tuesday, the United Nations firmly denied Russia's re-entry into the esteemed human rights body. Ryuji Sasaki will give us the details live. Yes, Ryuji, good evening.
Good evening, Elsie. Russia's bid to reclaim its seat in the United Nations Human Rights Council representing Eastern European countries has met a significant setback. In a decisive majority, they were defeated by Bulgaria and Albania. Russia, despite asserting support from a silent majority, garnered only 83 votes, while Bulgaria secured 160 and Albania 123. According to UN Director of the International Crisis Group, Richard Gowan, Russia's ability to sway a sizable minority for their vote suggests that Moscow is not a complete outcast within the UN. Reports indicate that Russia employed an aggressive campaign strategy, allegedly offering small nations grain and firearms in exchange for their votes. In their bid to regain a seat, Russia pledged to address human rights concerns and prevent the Council from becoming an instrument serving the political wills of a specific group of countries, a presumed reference to Western states. It's important to note that Russia faced suspension from the Human Rights Council in April last year after its invasion of Ukraine. Back to you, Elsie.
Thank you, Ryuji Sasaki, reporting live from Japan. TikTok, the widely popular social media platform boasting over 150 million users in the United States, finds itself entangled in legal battles. The state of Utah has filed a lawsuit against TikTok, alleging that the app is causing harm to children by intentionally encouraging them to spend an unhealthy amount of time on the platform. According to Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes, TikTok is lying about the safety of the app, which have negative impacts on the mental health, physical development, family, and social life. Moreover, stated in the lawsuit filed in state court Tuesday, the videos on TikTok app utilize powerful algorithms similar to slot machines, resulting to young users becoming addicted. Last December, Indiana brought a similar suit against the popular app, which is pending in state court, while Arkansas sued both TikTok and Facebook Meta in March. Moreover, on a broader scale, the U.S. Congress is deliberating legislation aimed at enabling restrictions or a potential ban on TikTok, citing concerns regarding potential spying. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Elsie Marcos, live from Auckland, New Zealand. Good evening.
The Department of Justice is gearing up to make a notable return as the UNTV Cup Season 10 kicks off later this month. Gladys Tuwabi details why.
Is real, as the highly anticipated UNTV Cup season opens its doors on October 30th. The Department of Justice is making a notable return to the hard court, donning the name gov't. This resurgence follows their previous participation during Season 7 of the UNTV Cup.
Gusto kasi namin makatulong sa chosen beneficiaries namin, and then at the same time makapag-exercise and then ma-prove kung sino talaga yung DOJ. Madaming nawala, madaming nadagdag, and I think nag-improve naman kami sa overall roster namin, and sana pala rin manalo.
Christopher De Lucas, DOJ Beacons player, emphasized the group's dedication and effort in preparing for their upcoming games.
Kahit busy kami, nag-find time kami para mag-practice after work hours. Yung iba nagsasacrifice talaga, pagod, gising, ng maaga. Kaya yun. Minsan nakikipag-tune up games kami sa ibang agencies, ganun. Tinatry namin lahat para maging ready.
The team expresses their delight in being part of this team once again, as it provides them a meaningful opportunity to support their chosen beneficiary.
Masaya kasi madami tayong matutulungan. Alam mo yun, yung mga hindi kaya na, for example, mag-aral, at least mabibigyan sila ng chance, and hindi natin alam na yun yung next na mga leaders natin sa government natin.
Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Fans Fans of Lucas Graham in the Philippines have something to look forward to, as the artist is anticipated to return to the country for a live concert this October. Gladys Tuwabi details why.
It was a big, big world, but we thought we would bigger, pushing each other to the limits. We were learning quicker.
This is just among the hit songs of Lucas Graham. And come October 22, at the new Frontier Theater, expect an electrifying live performance from Lucas himself.
Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself.
When asked what to expect from the concert,
Once I was 11 years old.
Several of my songs are quite emotional, but we still have some party songs, and so I think fans could be expecting to laugh, dance and cry during the concert. I love being able to make people have a big party, but I also love how my lyrics and my more sad ballads can bring like a lot of feelings out in an audience. So yeah, I think people can expect both ends of the emotional scale for this concert.
Lucas mentioned dedicating his performance to fans who cannot attend due to their residence outside the city.
One of the main issues with being an international name is that we can't be everywhere at this, and even when we come to the Philippines, there's so many places we're not visiting. We're only playing one concert in Manila, so I'm sure that there's a lot of people on the islands who would want us to come a little bit closer. So I think Wish You Were Here is going to be dedicated to them.
He is looking forward to immerse himself once again in the warm and welcoming culture of the Philippines.
Yeah, when I was in the Philippines, I was enjoying a lot of the tropical fruits you guys have. And I mean, the people I met, yeah, it was a very nice and welcoming culture.
Meanwhile, Lucas shared valuable advice for aspiring young musicians and artists.
So I think everyone who wants to become a performing artist should just practice their craft, practice their instruments and their singing and performance, and then try to become more unique in some sense. Find a niche and make it more niche.
The Lucas Graham Live in Manila concert is presented by KDR Music House and Midas Promotions, promising an unforgettable musical evening for all in attendance. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old.
Our kasambahay. As the world faces these trying times amid the various challenges and uncertainties, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Titus, It says, "Unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and conscience is defiled." And those are the reasons behind the news October 11, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, because we need to know. We will always ask why. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.